The future of Warzone is unclear. Today, we're diving deep into some questionable changes to find out what's really going on. You know things are getting bad when Stone Mountain, the man, the myth, the legend himself, is dropping a video titled, I'm worried. Oh, he's dropping a video titled, I'm worried about the state of Warzone. This guy, I mean, look, very intelligent person. Let me just put that out there off rip. But honestly, I have seen him drop thousands of videos on this game, probably more than almost anyone else. Clips, full-length videos, highlights, so many different things. So when we've got Stone Mountain concerned about the game, that's how you know things are getting a little crazy. Off rip, I am gonna say we are at some point gonna jump in and check out all the comments here because I think these are going to be pretty interesting. But before we do so, let's take a look at what Stone Mountain has to say.
Well, we got another update to Call of Duty.
Actually, I've got a better idea. Hold on. All right.
We weren't so certain how things were going to go after the mid-season catastrophe that was Season 3, leading to a lot of players starting to quit the game. But first, nobody likes stick drift. So
he's going to go on to tell you about his controller sponsor, but instead, you should go check out the TMR sticks on the aim controllers. Go to expel.gg, find your dream controller. I have my own custom build over there right now, so don't waste any time. They've got a massive sale going on, $209 until the end of the year, ladies and gentlemen. Use code Expel at checkout. It's going to change your game, make you a better player, and I am going to skip his ad. Hold on. Hold on. We're almost there. Just about. And
links in the description below, and let's get back to it. When
agreed.
Verdansk came out, things were pretty well polished. If you saw my last video talking about kind of that 1 month later state of Warzone, though, it made a pretty drastic turn. Now the question is COD still worth playing? I get people messaging me that. I get others messaging.
It's an interesting thing whenever someone says, is COD still worth playing? And this is actually a question I get a lot, or even people being like, well, if you don't like it, don't play it. Clearly, I like the game. I enjoy the game. It doesn't mean I'm not going to call out Call of Duty on the incredibly stupid things that they do on a consistent basis due to problems that they cause themselves. And we're going to get into quite a few things that I think are pushing the game down a negative path because it's just getting worse and worse in a few aspects that most people just aren't even going to recognize. And it's going to get to the point to where the game is unplayable for a specific portion of the audience because of that. But either way, let's keep going.
How on earth are you even still playing this game? What do I think about solos and the situation that's gone down there? So I kind of wanted to put together some of my thoughts, as well as bring up some of the new issues that have come up, of course, with the new season.
What is going on with Warzone? To answer the question real quick, before we go any further, is Warzone still worth playing? It's literally up to you. Hop on the game. Do you enjoy it? No? Stop playing. Why are you asking some random person on the internet whether or not it's worth? Just spend an hour playing the game and then you never have to spend your time on it again if you don't enjoy it. It is that simple. Are you really asking, is it worth spending money on a battle pass? Because I feel like it does not make sense to me unless you're asking about money, because you're not spending money, you're spending time. The time that you spend, you're going to figure out very quickly if you enjoy it. So I don't think it really necessarily makes sense to ask that question to anyone aside from yourself. If you can't make that decision yourself, I don't think playing video games is for you. I think there's probably not a lot of things that's for you. Come on now, lock it in.
When Verdansk came out, it was pretty much an anomaly that it was as polished as it was. And I think the reason was because they spent so many months, if not years, building up for that specific update, delaying the release of it with Urzikstan sticking around when Black Ops 6 came out until March.
Oh, he's talking about now Verdansk. I thought he was talking about Warzone 1 Verdansk. He is talking about Season 3 of Black Ops 6 Warzone Verdansk. That's what he's talking about. And it was polished, but it's incredible to see how quickly they've it over, bro. Like it really, really is wild to me.
Which is release of it, and we're right back on stride with updates breaking absolutely everything in this game for season 4. Quickly though, I will say I still love COD. I love Warzone, what this battle royale is for the sake of the movement, the gunplay. Even though mouse is a little bit more difficult to use in some regards,
it is wild to have a controller sponsor when you play mouse and keyboard. I get it. But like, damn, bro. You know, it's crazy. People think that I play on mouse and keyboard when I do a controller cam on my second channel, Expel Plus, literally every day. Guys, I love this controller. I use it every day. And they got TMR sticks now that are better than Hall effects. It just keeps getting better. Go to expel.gg.
It is one of the best M&K FPS battle royale experiences. You go in, and that was even doubled down on with the release of Verdansk, where it was 150 players, one person comes out on top, no more crazy respawns and constantly coming back, double gulag, triple gulag, buy stations, you know, redeploy flares for the sake of the team-based modes. It was a much more hardcore battle royale experience that had good contracts in the mid-game. Now, with all of the updates they've been doing too, I actually like the new season Easter eggs that they've been putting in the game. There's so many different little nuanced ways that you can find little come-ups that give you...
I think the big thing with this is that a lot of these Easter eggs aren't new. You know, all they had to do was re-implement things from the past, which is fine, but it just feels like it's such low effort, which kind of sucks. Like, I'm glad that it's back, just to be clear. I'm glad that they added in the new Easter egg with the tower, but I think there's so many things that they just brought back because they brought it back. It's not, you know, them being like, look, we can do this. It's like, bro, you did this 5 years ago and it was better. How are we in the situation where you're dropping these things? Are you expecting praise because you're actively hurting the game?
Additions to actually understanding the...
Not with the Easter eggs, just with everything else.
Map, how the game plays. That was something I enjoyed about Rebirth when they brought that back. They brought back some of the original Easter eggs, added a couple more. You could have ways of getting durable gas masks, extra UAVs, bringing the key cards over to the tower. Like, I loved that. And going for nukes on that map used to be my favorite before, of course, they took all the nukes out, as well as now removing all of the quality of life updates.
Man, you know what? As a quick heads up, I actually... hot take, did not love nukes in Warzone. I think that it took away from the gameplay loop for a specific minority of players, usually the players that got a lot of wins. I think it was a fine addition when you were forced to get 5 wins in a row to get it, because it happened much less often. But what would happen is you would dive into a match and there would be a nuke contract nearly every other game if you were in a lobby like I would get, which is a higher tier lobby. Now, during the end of Urzikstan, something weird happened. I think they were testing bots in the game in Urzikstan, but something weird happened where the player base shifted and it seemed like I was getting way less sweaty players and way less nuke contracts, which they had taken out at that point. But my point is, you know, the difference between early on Urzikstan, where they had these new contracts and stuff like that, and then late Urzikstan, where they got rid of them and the lobbies were way different. It was a world of difference. But when it comes to the new contracts themselves, I was not a fan of it. Like, I loved the gameplay loop of Warzone. I always have, and that's one of my biggest gripes with casual modes, is that them taking away modes to replace, you know, or to bring in casual, it is probably the dumbest thing in the world. But I understand why they do it. And we're going to dive into this in a little bit. But I just think that having a nuke contract in the game, at least for higher skilled players, and there being the option to get it with 30 wins in a season, it just took away from things more than it added to things. If they just did 5 wins in a row, I think that was fine. That was actually a great time when it was just that, because you'd rarely run into it. When you ran into it, it was like, all right, you know, these people went crazy with it. So I don't know, just my thoughts.
Just, man, yeah, you can't change your loadout pre-game lobby. They made it so you could change your loadout in-game lobby, which was sick. Loadout marker, you can't do any of that anymore. The big shift for solos now, though, is you can't even have a lobby full of other players. It's now AI that you're going up against, at least for the vast majority. Because this is easy 30 bombs. I don't even know what I'm doing, and I have 20 kills. It's 120 AI and 20 to 30 or so actual human players.
I have a theory, ladies and gentlemen. I think solo casual is the only mode, and the reason I say this is because they never told anybody how many bots there were. I think solo casual is the one mode that they're going to add in where they're going to dynamically adjust the number of bots based on your skill level. I went into multiple matches and I counted up the number of real people that I eliminated and the bots that I eliminated, and the number of real people was completely varying in like a large way. Like sometimes I would eliminate 4 real players for the entire match, maybe 5. And then some games I'd eliminate 19 real players. I mean, obviously they'd go to the gulag and they'd come back and stuff like that. But my point is I would eliminate what should be most of the lobby of real players. And it didn't add up. It did not make sense. So my guess is they're dynamically changing. Of course, they're changing the skill level of the bots. There's 5 skill levels for the bots. Also, if you ever notice, sometimes you'll get shot by a bot and it'll do a certain amount of damage. Sometimes it'll do more damage. Sometimes it'll do less damage. That's because they have skill-based damage for the bots, depending on the bot's varying skill level. It is not about the player's skill level. But, God dang it, quit hitting the mic. I don't know how I feel about them hiding certain things from us. I don't like that they do that. I think it's a weird strategy, and I get that it's because they're trying to test things and see what they can get away with for the sake of monetization, but I do think it's incredibly gross. But with that said, I would not go as far to say that solos are guaranteed 120 bots. So if anybody says that, there is not a damn thing anywhere that says that solos are the same as quads when it comes to the number of bots in the game. Please keep that in mind for the future. They did not say it in the patch notes. They did not say that in the creator call. They did not say that on the description of it. As far as I can tell, there's nowhere that says it. If y'all can find something different, let me know. But I cannot find it anywhere. I've searched hours. Maybe y'all are going to find it, and that would be incredible. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm happy to be wrong, but it's weird.
Which I think partly is going to help them with the queue times. Sometimes it did get a little long. I think it's also going to help them with the skill-based.
All right, we're going to pause it right there. Give me 2 seconds. So Stone wanted to bring up the queue times in Warzone, and I don't think people truly understand that this is self-inflicted damage. The reason that queue times are high is not because they have to be. It's not because there's a lack of players. So I actually wrote this the other day over on X. And if you ever want my like deep ass thoughts about a video game, which is incredibly stupid, but if you ever want that, feel free to go follow me over on X, because I talk about stuff like this quite a bit. But this is what I had to say. Look, Raven Software, I get it. And by the way, this is talking about how they've officially taken solos out. It's not coming back. It is indefinite. That's what they said in the creator call, is they don't know when they're going to add it back. So we don't know what's going to happen. But I said, look, Raven Software, I get it. Casuals makes money, but this is a slap in the face, especially when it's clearly unnecessary. 3 weeks without a mainstay mode. Recently, y'all have boasted high player counts for Warzone. Double recently. So you need to also express the reality behind why you actually need to take out modes. The matchmaking system for Call of Duty is predatory and is focused on aggressive retention hacking tactics that has the sole purpose of getting a player to purchase things from the store. This is well known. Which, by the way, I get the game needs to make money, but how hard is it just to show that you hear the community through something like this? Regardless, had the matchmaking system for regular modes been less aggressive, then it wouldn't take players multiple minutes to find a match, therefore lowering their retention. I know damn well there's plenty of players online, and they've said this so many times. Every time somebody's like, how are the player counts on console? And they're like, it's super good, we're killing it right now. I swear to God, it is insane that they would even pretend like it's a struggle to get players into a match. That is not the case. That is not the case. Plain and simple. If anyone ever tells you there's not enough players online, that is bullshit. It is a bold-faced lie. It is all because of self-inflicted damage due to the matchmaking system that they have set up so that they can make money. Sorry, I'm a little frustrated. Instead, the system is simply refusing to connect players for an extended period of time because it feels they either won't spend money with the lobbies they're given, or their existence in the lobby of a lower skilled player could negatively impact the likelihood of the lower skilled player spending money. Now, to be clear, I'm fine with the parameters from the matchmaking system. However, I think it's clearly needing tuning. It clearly needs tuning if your system refuses to connect a player to a lobby for over 60 seconds, which happens very often. Very often, especially if you're a higher skilled player. And I'm not talking about, oh, you got to be a 6 KD like me. I'm talking about like a 1.8 KD. That is still a top percent player. Swear to God, some people don't know that. That is still a top percent player. But it won't refuse, or it won't connect people because they need to get an exact lobby so that they retain the player perfectly. They have these conditions set up to where it is a perfect match for what they want. And they need to loosen that quite a bit. Quite a bit. While you claim ping is king, it seems like the time to matchmake has been increased to account for the other parameters you want to meet. That's atrocious and is clearly the reason for needing to remove any playlists. To sum things up, Call of Duty continuously causes problems. Then to fix said problems, they just introduce things that have a negative impact on a portion of the player base. For example, removing solos. Stop removing a mainstay mode. We do solo, duo, trio, quad, then resurgence, solo, duo, trio, quad, casual, whatever the want to add in, but don't take away the mainstay modes. It makes zero sense. They are not the same. You can't be like, oh, solo casual is basically the same thing, but with bots. No. I don't know if you know this, but bots in casuals do not work the same. The whole gameplay loop, which I know this is like a lot of people, what's a gameplay loop? Exactly. You don't understand what you're playing, which is fine. I see no issue with that. But the gameplay loop of solos feels a specific way because how players have adapted to playing it. When you take that away and you put in bots that do not act like real people, in fact, bots that literally will despawn and respawn in specific positions based on what the game wants them to do, but feels random to the player, you cannot actively play the game the same way that you would solos. It is not built to be a solo match. It's built to be a sandbox, shoot random people and die to random people because you don't expect them to be of a skilled level. It does not work. It does not make sense. It's fine to have both, but it is not fine to force one. It makes no sense. They are not the same mode. It literally is not the same thing at all. And the issue for me is that Call of Duty sees stuff like this working in other games like Fortnite. But the issue is Fortnite has a child audience. They are mostly children, so they will not notice as much. So the goal for Call of Duty right now is to hope that they can lobotomize their audience enough, make them as dumb as physically possible so that these people will continue to spend money, not realize what's going on, and just chill. Just chill. You know, it is what it is. Who cares what mode it is? But the issue is, it's not the same game. You're taking Warzone and you're turning it into something completely different because you're not giving the choice. The choice should always be there. That's my issue, regardless. I said, yada, yada, yada. Same goes for Resurgence. Then feel free to add casuals as well. But all additional modes are just that, additional. Stop removing playlists because of problems caused by you. Stop forcing bots on players that don't want to play against them. And real quick, you know what? We'll get to it. This whole thing is seeping with the signs of desperate attempts to remove any higher skilled players so you can replace them with players who spend more but play at a lower level so they're less likely to notice the disgusting tactics and links these games will go to make money in the short term because they don't give a shit about the long term, because they never pay attention to what affects their player base long term, because they actively try and get rid of people that have been there for a long time because they stop spending money because they see the bullshit. It's crazy. And if need be, an adjustment to the matchmaking system can be made to force players into a lobby a bit earlier to keep the lobbies healthy. I do not want to see casuals taken away in the slightest. I think casual is actually an incredible addition. I think it's great for the players that do want to not think at all. Zero thinking, none. I think it's incredible for that. I think it's great to help people learn the basics of the game. I do not think this mode is the same as Warzone Solo Battle Royale. It's not the same as Warzone Quad Battle Royale. In fact, Quads is way closer, but it still doesn't make sense. These things do not add up. It just doesn't work. Now, a couple of notes that I think people are just going to immediately get wrong, okay? One, I do not want to play against only bad players. A lot of people think that because I do not like the matchmaking system the way that it is, and because I don't agree with the way that skill-based matchmaking, the skill bracket in the matchmaking system works, they think I want to play against only bad players. That is not the case. I never have. I'm only interested in a wide variation of skill, hence why I don't agree with Call of Duty's matchmaking system as a whole. It can be more strict than it should be, leaving lobbies to not have much variation during specific times of the day. 2, I do not 2-box. Never have. Never will. Don't believe in it. Think it's incredibly dumb. I also don't VPN. Now, I have used in the past, what is it called? God, no lag VPN. This is not a sponsored segment. This is not me recommending it to you. It doesn't even work anymore. And I don't know why they say that it does. But in the past, I used no lag VPN to get better ping in lobbies. The name no lag VPN, it was once before it got used to get easier lobby. It was built to get you lower ping because it would technically break the matchmaking system and force better ping because they recognized how the matchmaking system worked. It also had that, side effect of making lobbies easier sometimes. It was a 50-50 shot because of the way that it would work. Because it breaks the matchmaking system, they know that they want people in a specific amount of time, so they would force you to a specific region. It would break the matchmaking, and then it'd throw you into the lobby with the lowest ping so that you had the best connection. The thing is, when it's the lowest ping and the best connection, it means that it's random players, which means that you could have a decently easy lobby or you can have an incredibly hard lobby. Now, I get that no one's going to understand that. That's fine. That's absolutely okay. This is not me being an egotistical asshole. I promise. This is me just reading thousands of comments about all this and people just blatantly misinterpreting what I said. Regardless, I said I haven't touched a VPN in years. I haven't since before Warzone 2 and never 2-boxed. I've also been recommending others stop doing so because the content made from things like that are dumb. 3, I like solos because it's the perfect battle royale scenario. Every single gunfight is a 1 versus 1 gunfight. The gameplay loop is nearly perfect, and frankly, it just feels good to win solos more than it does other modes. And the reason why is because it was all you. You did all the work. But when you hop in and you kill a bunch of bots, like a lot of people just aren't going to feel anything for that. And I'm not saying that, it shouldn't exist. I'm saying that the option should be there. 4, a lot of people say play something else. As of recently, if you watch my Expel Plus channels, I have been playing solo duos for a week. Casuals is boring. It's completely mindless and made for players to play mindlessly for an extended period of time. Retention. And I only say that because every single time I say, people don't want to get better when playing this mode, they're like, you're right. I don't want to think. I'm just listening to what people say. This is not me making shit up on the spot. This is me literally listening and reading comments. And you may feel something different, but that doesn't mean that I haven't gotten 1,000 comments saying exactly what I'm repeating to you right now. This isn't me taking away your opinion. This is only me expressing that this is exactly what I have heard on repeat. I think that it's fine if that's your goal, to play mindlessly. But past the basics, I wouldn't consider this to be something with a good gameplay loop. If you're not a complete beginner to the mode or a pretty decently bad player, there's not much thrill or excitement after the first few matches of dropping 20 to 40 kills on mostly bots. Number 5, why do you want casuals out of the game? I don't. I don't know why people keep saying that I want casuals out of the game. I do not. I think it's incredible for the game. I think it's going to make the game grow as long as they don't ruin the opportunity to get better by playing other modes and taking those other modes out, because once you make it a mostly bot royale, it defeats the purpose across the board. Anyway, I said I'm happy for it to stay, and I think it adds to the player base in a positive way in the long term, but in a wildly negative way in the short term, because players are constantly angry at each other because it's like, oh, you're playing in a solo casual. It's like, I don't have an option. I want to play solos, bro. What do you want from me? Like, there is no option, and people are just mad at each other. And there's this question of like, oh, I'm a casual and you're a sweat. It's like, you don't know that. Sure, me, obviously, I'm good at the game, but the point is if someone hops in and they're just better than you in general, and they play casually, then they are casual in that moment. The issue is they are simply better than you. They can think just as much as you can, but their muscle memory will do more than your muscle memory will. So people saying casual is this, casual is this, casual is this, it's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire existence. There is no definition. Stop trying to make one. Stop. Just give it up. Just give it up. It's pointless because everybody has their own definition and it's all wrong. Everything is wrong. I don't care who you are. And I have proof of this. I have another tweet where I literally asked and every answer was different. Every single answer was different. It's not real. Casual players don't exist. It does not exist, regardless of what you think it is. You can leave a fucking 10-page long comment. It doesn't exist. It is literally a mode made for you to be mindless, get lobotomized, and spend more money on the game because they're retention hacking you. That is all that it is. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. And I'm not saying it's bad that you enjoy it. I'm just letting you know what's really going on. When folks finally come to realize that the mode means, I said when folks finally come to realize that the mode means basically nothing, then it will be treated as such and casual players will stop fussing at other players for beating up on them, which isn't even what's happening in 99% of the lobbies because they're actually just fighting people that are the same skill level and they die to them because they're the same skill level and you don't win every gunfight. That's okay. That is exactly what it is. Anyway, let's go back to the video for Stone Mountain. I apologize. We went on a crazy rant there for 20 minutes, but this has been stuck in my head for so long. When they, in the creator call, and I'm going to keep referencing this because this is exactly what happened. They said, I know some of y'all aren't going to be happy, but we're taking out solos. And when I asked how long it was going to be gone, they said, we don't know. We have no plans for anything. We're just going to treat it day by day. That is the verbiage they used. So it was easy to recognize that the second they see positivity, they were never going to add in the other mode. It's very clear. So it frustrates the hell out of me that they do this and just don't give a shit about the people that enjoy the game for being the game.
Matchmaking, being able to match other people that are of a similar skill level that are the humans that are in the game. I think a lot of the higher skill players too will just avoid playing this mode altogether because it's not really fun just killing a bunch of bots. I actually haven't hated this mode as much as I thought that I would have. You still get into quite a few player engagements, especially at the end game, but it's not as many. And there are situations where the end game is just a cakewalk. That's always been the benefit of solos, is you always have an intense end game, not like what you're playing in quads where you can ultimately end up in a 4v1 situation.
Agreed.
It's not even fun. You always have these.
Dude, he is, oh my God, he's so spot on. This is exactly what I'm saying, is that solo casual is not the same as quads casual in the slightest. Solos is not the same as duos. Duos is not the same as trios. Trios is not the same as quads, and solos is not the same as any of them. So treating that as a casual game mode only is dog shit. It makes no sense. It does not work the same. This is my biggest frustration, is that they just don't give a shit about the fact that they made a perfect game mode. Solos, I know a lot of people hate solos, but solos, in every sense, was the perfect battle royale mode. And to take away that one battle royale mode that was perfect is an absolute slap in the face to the players. It's absurd. It truly is absurd.
Intense, heart-pumping moments at the end of a solo game that now I really am not getting as much of anymore. So at least as somebody who is relatively good at the game, I enjoy regular solos 10 times more. That being said, the actual gameplay loop, there's a lot of people in a regular game that are just complete trash. Like, you know, there's probably at least 80 to 100 of them that really are about the same equivalence level of an
Lord have mercy, I think it might have been him. Oh, wait, he was using the LC10. Never mind.
AI bot that we're going up against here. And this is something that's normal in PUBG, in Fortnite, and other battle royales, is having bots in the game, not only in solos, but in other game modes as well. And I do think this is going to be very helpful for all of those players that are just hopping on for an hour a day or whatever it might be that are the casuals. I think that having a solos casual playlist, this is what I was saying they should have added with quads right off the bat, because a lot of people don't want to go into quads, especially with a bunch of randoms who aren't talking anyways. However, at the expense of the core mode, that becomes quite a problem. And I think, you know, that becomes a problem for a player like me, and probably a lot of you guys who watch videos on Call of Duty Online, right? But I think their intention is to split the audience up, and anybody who is a sweat, try and force them into ranked. Even now, if I play casuals, I still get a lot of comments from people saying, why are you playing casuals? You're not allowed to play this. Go play ranked. Of which, if I try and play ranked, you can't even snipe in ranked. There's no, like, you can't play the actual game. You gotta go play this other watered down version of the game that a lot of people like more, and that's great, but I like the core game. I like doing the East.
I almost would say, like, if you're gonna take away the regular mode, give me ranked. Give me ranked immediately. I don't like ranked in the slightest, but I would rather play ranked than play casual. That's how serious I am about how dumb I think it is to take away this mode.
Eggs. I like being able to snipe, being able to hit headshots. I think that's just because I come from more of a casual player playlist from most of the games that I play rather than competitive and trying to be ranked #1 and all of those things. I haven't even played ranked in Call of Duty yet in any of the Warzone seasons. Even playing duos, of which I
think it was actually really good in Al Mazrah. This is a crazy thing to say, but I really, like, in Al Mazrah, I had a ton of fun. In Urzikstan, playing ranked, it just, man, I don't know. It just didn't feel the same as it did in Al Mazrah. And I didn't love Al Mazrah. I did not like it. But something about that, like, early ranked just felt good, you know? Like, it just felt like you were really getting in there with your team and, like, having a good time. But in Al Mazrah, just not at all. Or in Urzikstan, not at all. So I haven't played it in Verdansk. I'm not sure if I would like it, but I don't know.
played a whole bunch today. That is far more competitive, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was quite difficult to get a win. You still get a lot of those intense moments in end games, especially in duos, that you would in solos because it's not going to be completely outnumbered, although you get the occasional 2v1. In our end game, we had 4 people that were all solos up at the end. You know, each of them's teammate watching, yelling at them. So it's like, you know, it's a good experience. And in there, at least there is no AI, so you know these are all people and you're in a true match. And that with this major rework to downtown really was having this gigantic tower completely changes the way that you play that area. With all of these little secrets, it's now contesting for the other specialists.
Dude, just listening to him be positive, it just makes me realize how much I truly do love this game. And I know how incredibly dumb it is to sit here and think about a game. And I also, like, I know people don't like when you sit there and you're like, oh, you talk about this, oh, just move on. Then there's the other group, okay? I need y'all to understand that, and I know that a lot of people don't give a shit. There's going to be a lot of people that comment like, oh, you're just beating a dead horse. And it's like, also at the same time, there's the other people that are like, you're not saying it enough. So you have to find this balance. And for me, it's like, you know, maybe once every 2 weeks, I'll drop a video talking about what's going on, trying to keep everybody up to date, have a conversation about the good, the bad, the ugly. I like doing that. I like being a part of the community and like really reading what y'all have to say. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of times where I have to take a break for a few days because some people truly have no idea. And the ignorance and the blissfully ignorant and just being so forward about it and not giving a shit is exhausting sometimes. Because you can get, you can get stuff so wrong. Like not you specifically, but people can get stuff so wrong. And just go full force. And no matter how much you explain it to him, it's like I saw this thing from Joe the other day. He explained how like 8 different things worked to this guy. And the guy's response was like, no, you're just a cheater. It's like a cheater wouldn't have this information. I'm not saying like to each their own. I don't give a fuck who you think cheats or not. It's all stupid anyway. But when people are given an answer that is, all right, this is how this works, this works, test it yourself, come back, and they just don't want to. It's clear that it's just you just want something to bitch about, right? But for me, I love this game and I don't want to bitch about it. I really don't. Like there was a long time where I just didn't fuss at all because I enjoyed it. I had a great time playing the game. Then on the other side, here we are. I have to have the conversation because they're ruining the game. And you may not realize how big of a deal it is that they're taking out choice. This is a strategic move. They do, over the course of time, want to push players that are better at the game out of it. And while you may think that's a good thing, the reality is they will stop working as hard. They will stop putting their heart and soul into these games. Not to say that they're doing all of that now, but I know there's a lot of developers that really try to make this game fun. There's a lot of fun things about this game. But if they can get away with making the player base less focused on how the game actually works, if they can get away with all these things that frankly is, and I keep saying this word, lobotomizing, because it's basically just clearing their brain of anything bad in the game. Their goal is to get rid of whiners and bitchers, which is usually the higher tier players whenever it comes to a lot of this stuff, because they recognize what's going on, they recognize how the game works, they recognize what works, what doesn't work, they recognize all the glitches and stuff like that. And I've seen this conversation with developers where it's like, all right, well, if we bring in streamers to test things, then they're going to point out everything, right? Or whoever. they're going to point out everything that a regular player just wouldn't see. And we'd have a billion problems to fix. And there's no way to know what actually is important, which is why, by the way, there is no real testing of things. They just throw it out and see what actually affects players. That's why these updates are so dog shit, is that they have no other way of testing than to throw it at the players that barely know what's going on in the game, and they just hop on and don't think. So if those players are upset about something, then clearly that's going to get fixed, because it's a clear like data thing for them. They say a big outlier. But I just love this game, and it hurts my soul. So it's like literally having a piece of you torn out. My career in Warzone, don't get me wrong, I was full-time content before Warzone, but my career in Warzone started by me making content about how to improve in solos. And to see that just ripped out just hurts my soul, dude. It's literally just having a piece of you ripped out, because they're changing it entirely. I don't know, man. I know that it's a goofy thing. It really, really is. But that's why I've been so frustrated and so incredibly vocal about it, is because it really, like, it's a dumb thing, but it matters to me, you know?
2 other ways you can get specialists, but it's still very difficult to pull off with this huge vertical battle on this tower with so many different ascenders and routes. It's like it's having an entirely different map there. I hope they continue to change the POIs, make the gameplay dynamic, make the whole map feel fresh, change the way that you would play it, not only in a casual manner, but also even the highest level sweat, trying to go for the specialist bonus and fight the other sweats that are going for it as well and know what they're doing. The problem, though, still lies at the functionality of the game. On paper, all of these things are great. The ideas, the concepts, I really enjoy it as a player. The problem is none of it actually comes to proper fruition. And I don't know the exact reason why. I can only assume it's because they're doing so much now between all the multiplayer, zombies, Warzone, and then...
That is bullshit. Not against him, but it's bullshit if they try to use that as an excuse, because we have Raven that is solely focused on Warzone. There's no explanation for them having to do all these things. It is clearly that they are just taking that excuse, not Raven and the employees, not Raven and the employees, but Activision will take that as an excuse. Oh, we've been focused on this, and this. That's not the reality. You have a company that should be a developer studio that should be solely focused on one thing, but you pull them into other things in minor ways, and you force them to push out things that are big updates in a short amount of time. And that's how we get, the Black Ops 6 integration. It's like they had already planned for Verdansk for multiple years. And then they were like, what if we had Omni movement? How about we throw in Omni movement? And they're like, okay, well, we can do that, but we have to undo everything we've done. And Call of Duty was like, yeah, that sounds good. Let's give them something fresh. And it's like, no, you're giving them something fucked up, bro. Like, we got to stop using these excuses. And God, it is just, oh, God.
And trying to get all of those out on the exact same day and deadline is like, clearly this is just not possible. And this is why in a couple videos ago, I was talking about like Warzone needs to have its own just dedicated, split, separate thing.
Yes, been saying this, dude. Been saying this. If they would split off the game, let Warzone be its own thing, like every other battle royale on the face of the planet, dog. If they would do that, Warzone would forever thrive. But they force this yearly cycle on a game that isn't meant to be a yearly cycle game. It doesn't make sense. Let Warzone create its own chapters, its own story. Stop focusing on what's going on in the mainstay game. You will make more money by splitting it off and letting it be its own brand, its own IP, but still connected to Call of Duty in some way. They can bring in weapons from all Call of Duties if they do that. And they don't have to go year to year to year to year to year to year. And I know the big thing is they just want a retention hack, have everything connected so they can do the store, stuff like that. Like, they are just shooting themselves in the foot on repeat, bro.
And it gets the update when the content is done and ready. Sure enough, launch day, what are some of the issues that we're now seeing again? Of course, there's insane server lag across every game that you go in. If your game starts stuttering, if it doesn't crash, that's what it's going to be like for the rest of the game. And seemingly it didn't happen to everybody all at the same time. So some people would be able to run around and kill you while you were lagging out of your mind. Servers never came back. You have to constantly back out. You're spending 5, 10, 15 minutes even as you have to keep backing out of games trying to find a game with a working lobby. And even the people who do play this game every day, grind and sweat for rank, the game is not even working properly for them. As Nate Shop points out,
before launched, rank play comes a couple days later after all the server issues. If you were iridescent, you either got brought back down to bronze, or you went back down to diamond, like you should have. I know for a fact that me, Scump, Apathy, we got sent back down to bronze. Symphony, that bird bitch, he stayed at diamond.
of course, this is critical because to get top 250, it's all based on skill points. And if one player starts 5,000 points ahead, literally hours, if not a week, 2 weeks of gameplay ahead, good luck trying to catch up. They said they were investigating issues, he goes on to mention, and it's now been 5 days. They still haven't done anything. And you would think that's bad, but it's not even the worst of it, because the thing that obviously I don't talk about too much is hackers. You guys get mad at me that I don't talk about it.
Dude, people getting mad that like content creators and streamers don't bitch 24/7 about cheaters whenever that's all we've done for 5 years is the most frustrating thing on the planet. Also, I hate saying we. I don't know if you know that, but I don't stream. When someone calls me a streamer, it's like, why? I don't even live stream, bro. Like I don't live stream. I don't do that. Like I just make videos. Sure, I've streamed in the past, but I don't do it. Haven't done it for a year now, right? Like I've streamed twice, I think, in a year. And it was for launch day of Verdansk, which short as hell, like 2 hour stream. And then for an hour or maybe an hour and a half for aim controllers on their page, not my page, their page, right? Like it doesn't necessarily make sense that people say stuff like that. But with that in mind, why do you care that someone is fussing about cheaters when that's all they've done for so very long, clearly? And then you call them the cheater. God bless, Lord.
Enough, so let's talk about it. And not just one hacker, but teaming hackers. The number of clips that I have seen.
Look, there's people right behind these kids right now on them, not even
on the right, not shooting. Oh my God, they're
all hacking and teaming together.
Dude, people got to get
alive.
alive.
9-man attackers.
They got to get alive.
They're all teaming right here. How many people are there? It's 3
hackers. Yeah, 3 guys behind this guy. This guy's ranked number 10 in the world.
Holy, and he's teaming.
So wait, Team Top Stadium is also hacking, and there's all
3 teams hacking, teaming together, and a bunch of solos.
Do you understand what's happening?
Look at them! Look at them all! Look at them all!
They're all teaming. They're fighting one guy.
This is the ranked experience in Warzone, and I've seen so many clips like this.
Oh my God!
I just have never brought it up, or you know.
He's like, you get the kill. Oh no, there's no way people have no lives like.
I think the difficult thing with this is that clearly Activision is going against the cheaters. This is not like me sucking up to Activision, but I do think it's goofy when people are like, oh, they're not doing anything. I think Activision in a lot of different areas does a dog shit job. I think that Ricochet is way worse than they make it out to be, for sure, because they constantly be like, we just banned this many cheaters. Motherfucker, they made another account and got on the next day. That's incredibly stupid to say that. Stop saying that your anti-cheat is this good when it's doing literally nothing. What's done the most is they won a court case against Engine Owning, who was forced to move to Russia to continue what they were doing with their cheats. A lot of new cheat providers are popping up in Russia for that reason. That way they can't be litigated. That way they can't be shut down. That way they can't, have to do this, that, or the other thing. But all the other cheat providers that cannot move are being taken down, right? They are sending cease and desist. A lot of these companies are not wanting to fight Activision because clearly they're going to lose because they have precedent, right? So they are actively fighting it. Should they have a 24/7 team of people that fight this? Absolutely. Absolutely. But right now they don't. And I think that's the next natural step, right? But the issue is that they will push out an update that fixes things. And then over the course of 2 to 3 weeks, these cheap providers, they get stuff going a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more until it reaches a fever pitch. And what usually happens is that when it reaches a fever pitch, a lot of the players that normally don't see cheaters start to see them. These are the lower skill players. And the reason why is because these guys start making more and more accounts because they can get away with it. They get banned quickly a lot of the time, but they can get away with it. So they just make another account, especially. And this is why usually when I see someone that is on Steam and they are a low level, which you can tell if they're on Steam and you can tell that they're a low level. So if you see those two things, it immediately for me raises a red flag. It's not, hey, this guy's cheating. It's, hey, let's pay attention, you know? So when I see something like that, I start to recognize it. Now, I think that Call of Duty takes that into account when they're doing their anti-cheat and stuff like that. But a lot of these cheats are not able to be detected. And because they're not able to be detected, there's no way for them to fight it until they figured out how to detect them. They need to do more manual things. They need more people on board for the manual things. They need to properly have a theater mode for Warzone like they do for multiplayer. Because right now, Warzone is struggling with cheaters. A lot of the people that are in the higher tier lobbies, you know, they'll run into people that are like, it is an all the time thing where they will run into people that are cheating, but trying to hide it. So you have to pay super close attention whenever you're watching. And being a detective in that way is incredibly annoying. So unless you're watching someone live, these creators will often not mention cheating because it's just pointless. It's in a cycle. There's no way that like we can do anything about it, regardless of how much we talk about it. Activision doesn't give a shit. There's this thing that goes on with viewers and creators. I'm going to explain this one time. I'm not going to come back to this. This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. People think that streamers, creators, whoever, people like that, even Swag, have a large impact on how the game turns out. That is not the case. It doesn't work that way. It has never worked that way. Swag, before the launch of Warzone Season 1, the very first Warzone Season 1, talking about 2020, he went and he asked when he was there, hey, is Warzone going to have skill-based matchmaking? To this man's face, they said no, it will not have skill-based matchmaking. And you know what? They lied. They bold-faced lied because it had skill-based matchmaking. That's fine, whatever. All right, they lied about it. And they did it again with another thing and another thing and another thing. And then these creators that give their feedback and nothing comes from it. Even if that feedback comes from their community, the issue is like I said, they focus more on the data. They focus more on the large outliers so that they can fix those things. And a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, but they changed this gameplay element and this gameplay. That's because it is an outlier for a large group of players, not because Swag, oh, holy God, Swag, said something to them. That is not how it works. It is not. It has never been how it works. If it was, Warzone 2, point blank, would have never happened. Warzone 2 is the exact opposite of what every streamer had ever told them. And from what I've seen, every single person that went to COD Next said, no, this is not going to fly. And you know what? They ran it for multiple years straight. It is never a situation where Call of Duty creators, Call of Duty streamers, whoever it is able to make a difference. The next thing is, on the same topic, hey, well, what if these streamers and creators band together and they all stop playing and they boycott it? First, they'll be replaced instantly. Every creator, every streamer is just a number to Activision. It is that simple. Okay, this is not me like talking shit. This is a reality of how business works. This connection is simply business. It's impressions, right? And if this creator isn't giving the impressions that they need, then they are useless. So they move on to the next person. They promote. There has been multiple times where Call of Duty themselves has taken someone that didn't have an audience and give them an audience so that those people would be super loyal to the game. I'm not going to name names, but I've seen it on repeat where these people could not build their own audience. They didn't do anything worth a damn. And this is not me talking shit to any creator in particular. It is very clear when you look at it, you watch their numbers and you see the peaks with them working with Activision. All they do is they'll just replace you. right? So that's number one. Number two, if they band together and they all leave, you know, what if everybody just leaves? It doesn't matter. The majority of players that play this game, in fact, the players that they want to play this game, the ones that will spend money on the game, are not the people that are watching content creators. Every content creator is like, no, don't spend money on the game. You know, even me, like, I will spend money on the game, but in my videos where I spend money on the game, I directly to your face will say every single time, it is not worth your money. I will also let you know when Call of Duty ever sent me COD points, it is not worth your money. You should not be spending money on a game if you are not happy with it. For me, when I buy these bundles, I do it to show you, hey, I bought this. I am never going to use it again. Ever. It's just not going to happen. So there's just so many things that people think do this, think do that, think do this, think do that. And it's from 8 seconds of watching someone else say it. There's no original thought. There's no thought process behind it whatsoever. It's just repeating what you've heard somebody else say and thinking that that's how things work. And that's just not how it works. There is no true connection between content creators, streamers, and what happens in the game. It is all based on data and outliers in the data that make changes happen. There can be requests made, but most likely, unless you are someone that just needs to get unbanned or unshadow banned because your account has been falsely banned or falsely shadow banned, nothing's going to happen. And the only reason those people get priority is because they produce so many impressions for the game, or they're part of like the ranked or whatever. And I'm not saying that it's right by any means. I'm not. There's obviously two sides to this where it's like, all right, well, this player has worked their ass off to get to this point. It is good for us. It is good for them to come back. We should just do it. You know, like there's that. And then there's the other side of it where it's like, all right, well, why does this player get priority over another player? There's two sides to it. There's always two sides to a coin. There's always two ways to look at it. But the big thing for Activision is what's better for business. Now, on that same length, or on that same thought, I realize that people are going to be like, that's why they let streamers get away with shit. No, if they did, they wouldn't have banned Bobby Poff. And if they did ban Bobby Poff, they like would have apologized for banning Bobby Poff, right? Or they wouldn't have banned Bobby Poff. And when they brought him back, they would have apologized if they really gave a shit. It was just an unjust ban, right? Like there's so many different instances like this where people just really don't think, like in any instance, there's no forethought before you spout something out of your mouth. And not you necessarily, but like the people that are saying all this crazy shit, there's no thought whatsoever. None. Or they've just listened to some like hacker hunter that is finally getting views on their video because somebody was hit with a false ban. Now, either way, I realize this is going to be the one part in the video where people lose their fucking minds in the comments. But if you're losing your mind over it, like, brother, how much do you truly know? How much? What's your KD? Can you 1v1 me? And this isn't like, oh, I'm better than you because I'm better than... No, it's... I clearly have put way more time into this and understand it way more because I've focused so much on stuff like this so that I can create content around it, so that I can explain it to people. It would not make sense, you know? Either way.
Talked about it, but even if they weren't hacking with it, right? Let's just say maybe they weren't hacking. They're still stacked up teaming with each other, farming for skill rating, something that I've heard about since ranked has been out, where people will also just kill trade so they can max out the skill rating that they can get in a round and continue to climb rank, essentially boosting that. I know Warzone has said they're doing something about, but here we are still. And if you're ranked 10 in the world, clearly, I mean, you've been making some progress here. The craziest part, though, of course, is that this game is free to play. So as soon as you ban somebody, they have to make a new account. But supposedly, and I don't know the validity of this here, but there's another clip blowing up on TikTok saying it's not so hard to get more accounts.
Oh, he locked on. Oh, yeah, he's actually hacking.
So,
hold on. Let me see if I can interview this guy.
How's it going?
Dude, so serious questions. I'm not even going to flame you here. How much money are you making off of these hacks?
It depends what you do. I know some people that run Discord servers that clear 3 to 5 grand easily a week. Me personally, though, only like a couple $100 every other week. It's more of a side hustle for me.
How much does it cost to make a new account?
25 cents. Some people don't even have to pay. They have lifetime for SMS gen.
Wait, 25 cents?
You can.
So that's the thing. If you can get...
And on top of that, you could just do it in Steam. It's that simple.
Get a new account that freely, because it's already free to get it, but What must be happening is people are just farming accounts, which I'm guessing is also partly why there's so many bad players that are just inside of games anyways. These are probably just people that are running around trying to get an account to level 10, 15, whatever, get it past a certain number of games so that could even get into ranked. Potentially another reason that they're slowly making the core game just full of AI by, of course, switching everything to casuals.
You can buy 100 accounts for $20. 100 Steam accounts pre-made. All you do is
That is another point, that they're using casuals to fight cheaters. So they're not lowering the number of cheaters. They're just making it where casual players are less likely to run into them, so they bitch less. It's like, it's all smart business moves. Just to be clear, these are all incredibly smart business moves in the short term, because it will retention hack these players. It will make them stick around longer, even if they're not actively improving the game itself. But that's just it. They're not fixing anything. They didn't do anything. There's more cheaters. You just don't see them because there's 120 bots.
is load up the Steam account, and then you load up Activision and make your Activision account, because they don't even do an email verification. Completely BS info. When I get kicked from...
But see, I don't know, like, because half the time every week when I log into the game, it tells me to two-factor authenticate my account. So I don't get how people can play without two-factor authenticate. Like, is that not a requirement? Why does it make me do that all the time? But I guess they have two-factor generation, so they can even already do that automated, I guess.
From a game.
Well, you don't have to have two-factor authentication. You just choose to have it to protect your account, is the thing.
Right? If I get a shadow ban during a game, I can be back online on Call of Duty's home screen for 90 seconds. It's
That's
that bad.
crazy.
90 seconds?
If there was a way I could get banned right now, I could show you. All I do is open up the notepad file down here. I have hundreds of accounts, just already copy and paste. All I do is copy and paste the info, add Warzone to the Steam library, start your game, and then
I'm like blown away right
It's just
now.
all so
The biggest
goofy,
one
to
that
be
I
honest.
saw blowing up recently, though, is that apparently your whole computer can get hacked and get a virus on it by playing in a custom game right now.
My PC got hacked through a Warzone match. Yeah, you guys have probably seen this. It's literally everywhere. It's on TikTok, Twitter. I mean, literally any social platform you can think of.
Yep.
The Call of Duty servers are not safe. I played a custom match with my viewers, and a hacker joined the lobby and literally pulled all of my information on my PC, my internet, literally everything through the Warzone match. The Warzone servers are not protected right now. Nothing's protected on Warzone. I mean, I don't know what this company is doing.
So a lot of people were asking me on stream, you know, how are you playing this? Why are you playing this game right now?
You know what's interesting, by the way? Another creator told me that they asked Activision, they asked the people over to Activision about this, and they told them you have nothing to worry about. That's what they said. And then multiple people right after that got hacked too.
Don't you know you can get hacked? All your information can get stolen. But the thing is, I also don't know enough if that's really true. And while that definitely makes a good headline, I don't doubt this guy did get hacked and is having some serious issues. I am staying out of at least custom lobbies for the time being, just as a safety measure. I would imagine if there was really that level of breakthrough from just playing in a public lobby with somebody, the game would just be shut down right away. But then again, maybe not with these guys. But I don't know this guy personally. Did he download something else onto his computer? Is there something else going on? Who knows? But it sure has blown up online. And not to say that it's even just PCs that are the issue. I watched a video about this a few months back, but as AI gets better, it's becoming a bigger issue with hackers on console as well. Again, outside of just...
Oh my God. You know how long ago I mentioned that you can cheat on console and everybody's like, no, that's not real. You can't do that. You can't do that. I said like a year ago that what was going to happen is I was going to show this to people and people were going to say, no, that's fake. And then at some point it was going to come back around because it always does. It always does. I do this shit for a fucking living, dog. I know I see something early. I tell people it's going to be a problem. And you know what happens? People don't believe me. And then guess what? It's a problem. All of a sudden, people are like, whoa, I can't believe you can do that. That's crazy. Will you fucking listen to a damn word that I say? It's almost like I know this shit, bro. Damn.
Cronus and Zin and the things that are literally
Like, this is the, like, you do something for a living so long and you like focus so hard into figuring out all the little nitty gritty details. And like, people still think you know nothing about it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a developer. I don't know how this shit works. I just know that I see it working. I see that it's possible for it to work. And then people do it. And then people are like, no, it's not real. It's not real. It's not real.
sold in the store. We're seeing hundreds ordered every single month on Amazon. Likely a lot of it for this game. I even saw another
Thousands, not hundreds.
clip from Nade saying that he thinks every single person that's been killing him is using one and he's about to go buy his Cronus. I think that'd be some great content once he gets one of those in. Nonetheless, there's also hacks on console that people are able to utilize.
For the record, this clip right here was done on a PC, but it was just shown so that it could be recorded.
It can be a little frustrating when people are on points because it'll also drag to like bomb sites.
So can you do this on PlayStation 2 or is it only on Xbox?
Oh yeah, you can do it on PlayStation and Xbox.
So do you have it like fully cranked right now?
Honestly,
This is him interviewing a
like these
cheater.
settings are very complicated. This is my search area. So if I widened it all the way, if there was anything that resembled the color of the pink dot, it would drag onto it.
So you doing this?
Essentially, in multiplayer, you'll see the dot over an enemy's head. Works a little differently in Warzone, obviously, but from that, the AI that is overwatching this or whatever tool it is can then outline where the player
Again, mentioned this a year ago during Urzikstan, saw it firsthand saw it, and people said it wasn't real. It's like, oh, well, it's not, it's just walls. It's just aiming. Brother, it's all cheating. I don't know where the confusion is.
and what to shoot, and then can take control of the controller and help with the inputs to aim lock onto them.
Doing this through an Elgato from your Xbox that's capturing the screen.
I'm doing it, yeah, I'm doing it from an Elgato from my PC, but it's running through my Xbox. I was tired of last season of just all the Zimmers and the Zens and.
How much did you have to spend for this?
All right, that was what you needed to hear. I was tired of all the Zimmers and the Zens. That was it. That's all you needed to hear. Is the weak ass mentality. Everybody else runs into it just as much, and guess what? They're not cheating. But no, you a weak ass bitch. That's what it is. If you have this mindset, if they're gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, you're weak, bro. It's insane. And it's not even about like, oh yeah, but I'm stronger and you're, you know, like, no. It's just a weak ass mindset, bro. You're playing a video game, bro. Like, you're gonna take the one bit of fun somebody has from them? God.
PC 600 worth the investment because I got that back in using 2 accounts.
And you can't get banned because you're playing on console. They can't detect it because it's running the cheats through a different software.
Exactly.
So you on controller or keyboard and mouse doing this?
I'm on controller. I used to play legit roller. It doesn't drastically improve your game. There's still an aspect to the game you need to understand. Like, you need to understand how to block spawn trap.
Well, and that's the thing. You see so many people that do hack that are just so bad at the game, and that's like an easy way to tell. But sometimes there are people who are good, get the extra edge off of it. And honestly, at this point, I feel like I haven't run into that many cheaters when I play. I don't spend a lot of time reviewing all of the gameplay and clips, though. I just assume they're better than me, try to learn the positioning and angles, and then go on to the next game. And while I do play this game a lot, I don't play it 10 hours a day, every day, nor do I try and grind ranked like a lot of these guys do. I'm kind of in the middle where if I play enough games and there's hackers in a couple of them, I can leave and just go to another game and have a decent one. But I can see also the frustration of playing only a small amount. You play 3 games in a night, 2 of them have hackers, maybe all 3 of them have hackers, and you're also not great at the game because you don't play it enough. You can't even keep up with them. There's literally zero hope out of it. And what is the positive side for it? If you are the best in the world, or even just pretty good at the game, like I'm not the best, but I'm still called a hacker every day. Every game you go into, you get a couple kills, you're still called a hacker. So there's not really great reputation alongside of even being good at this game, which also puts it in a very bad spot. But I will say, the more I've seen this across all online shooters, this is just a wave that I think is a reason so many people have been pushed to playing more PvE games or modes, like zombies. I think when Black Ops 6 came out, a ton of people just flooded to zombies. And even more so, I know everybody hates when I say this, but this is a reason that I think this game is going more down the direction of putting more AI into games with casuals. I think duos and quads will also be eliminated from the core playlist on this game in favor of just all casuals. And then maybe they make a super casuals that's literally all AI, so you can play the game, grind your camos without ever having to run into other players, especially as AI is getting...
Dude. God. It just hearing all that just really annoys the shit out of me. Not at the fault of Stone, but just how accurate it is. And how people just don't realize that's what's going to happen. And like Call of Duty being a titan of the industry, it's going to lead to other games adopting this mentality. We are fucked. Like, God, the thing, like, it's just so sad where we are as society, dude. Like, everybody's so pissed off that they have to fight somebody better at them in a game, or people are like, I'm so tired of not being able to play like this because people are so good. And it's like every game gets like that, you know. Everything gets like that because over time we as humans want to improve. And I'm not saying every human wants to improve. Some people want to be stuck in the past. That's okay, whatever, live your life, I don't give a shit. But the point is, like, as humans, there are always people who reach past, and people get so frustrated that some people are so good at it, but it's like these people just grew. They just got good at it. Like, you can't be mad at them for being good. You can't be mad at them for having muscle memory. You also can't be mad that they're playing in your lobbies when you choose to play in those lobbies. But there's also no barrier to entry for casuals. There's no anything. I just think we're in this weird spot where for the next 6 months, they're going to be testing things. Probably less. Probably the drop of Black Ops 7, we're going to see a big change in Warzone. But I don't think Solos is coming back. Ever. I think he's right. I think things are going to disappear slowly for casuals. Casuals is going to stop being called casuals. And we're just going to have bot-filled modes. And that's going to be it, dude.
Getting actually better, it can pretend to be a real player more accurately. And sometimes that is a more enjoyable experience where you're shooting other soldiers and like players versus just shooting zombies that never shoot back, where you don't really have a lot of competition. I mean, the number of comments that I've gotten from people, again, telling me, don't play casuals. You're not allowed to play casuals. You're too good. This is the easy mode. They want to farm and get all of their wins for free. I think naturally that's going to be the direction this continues to go.
It's so interesting though. Like there's this big misunderstanding because every player is the exact same, regardless of whether you're good, whether you're bad, whatever. If you are Scump, you will not want every single game to be super difficult. Right? Yeah, that's just the reality of it. If you are Joe Schmo with a 0.6 KD, you do not want every game to be difficult. You do not want to fight sweats all the time. And the irony is that Joe Schmo is more important because there's a billion Joe Schmoes out there. And those will make up for the $2,000 that Scump will spend on skins in a single minute. So, like, people not being able to draw the line and be like, oh, I'm literally just like this guy. We want the exact same thing. We just want variation in our game. You know, like people not being able to recognize that and just not being self-aware enough to see that is so goofy to me because everybody just does the same thing and wants the same thing, but they're not going to admit it. Everybody wants the exact same thing. But Call of Duty sees that as an opportunity to be like, what if we add in bots and you get your dopamine like that? But some people don't get dopamine. So they'll leave the game. And when they leave the game, then Call of Duty doesn't have to deal with the people to bitch. And when Call of Duty doesn't have to deal with the people to bitch, they get to lower the amount of like work they put into the game slowly gets worse. And the players that wouldn't notice anyway. So the game is actively just a worse game, and it's worse for everybody. But Nobody cares because Call of Duty's getting paid. Yeah, hey, look, there's like 4 minutes left in this video. I'm going to end it there. Stone is spot on. Stone had some very, very incredibly thought out points. I think he did a great job on this video. I think there's just so many things, and I hate being incredibly negative in these videos. Very clearly, it sucks, the path that we're going down, and I know a lot of people aren't going to be able to recognize that, but it does. I promise you, it is not good. And while you may think, oh, but casuals is great for the game, it is. No, it is. But the removal of the choice is what clearly shows that we're going down the wrong path. With that said, this whole video wasn't necessarily about casuals, but it was just about what they're trying to do and trying to hide it from you. So I hope that we can slowly recognize things like this. I know that the comments are going to be an absolute cesspool. I also know that I promise you, I will read probably 10 of them. And if they are all negative, I will not read anymore. I'm sorry to those of you that have incredible points. I cannot do it. Because at this point, I realize it's just incredibly divisive. And until Call of Duty does what they're going to do, we're just going to be stuck in this place where everybody hates everybody, even though no one has any clue what they're talking about. But either way, listen, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, 209 sale, use code Expel. On top of that, go to expel.gg, grab yourself some merch, 25% off using code cookies. I'm hitting the road. I love y'all. Except for you. No, not you. That guy. Yeah. You're a weirdo. Bye.